Hey guys, how's everything going? This is JSer. In this video, let's try to solve number 164 from BFE.dev. It's called implement Immer produce. I have never used Immer before. In number 12, we're asked to implement immutability helpers. Yeah, we have already done it. So if you're interested, please search on my channel. There's a video for that. So yeah, it's not that difficult. I remember that we just use some recursion to clone the data and check if the command exists. We modify the final result. So it's not difficult. These helpers requires extra effort for us to remember how to use them. Well, that's true. Like we need to remember use this $sign, the push, the set, merge, apply or something. And while Immer takes another approach which might be easier to use. What's it that? For example, we have a base state like as below. This is an array holding two objects with the property of name. We can use produce to patch a modification to get a new state. So we produce, the first argument is the state. The second one is a function which takes a draft as the argument. The draft we could use the draft to do push. Yeah, the draft looks like it is the state, but without directly modifying it, I guess, right? Because we're creating a new state from it. So state is something like a clone of the draft is like a clone of the state. Draft push it and draft name it, change the name of the second item, set with the same value. Before it's a dot, now it's a dot. So unchanged part's not cloned. Of course, we change the name of the first one, so the root new state it's not the same. Its value is like this, and the first one is not the same because we changed the name. The second one is identical because even if we set it, it is totally the same. And the third one, because we push a new one before, it is undefined, and obviously they are not identical. So please implement your produce. This is not a record Immer. You only need to support basic usage on plain object and array like map or set or auto freezing. They're out of this scope. Okay, and you need to make sure unchanged parts are not cloned. Interesting. So the first idea came to my mind is that we just deep clone it, right? Deep clone it, and then we can just change the draft. Yeah, change it. Just change everything we want, and it works, I guess, but it's not cool, right? It's not cool because we are asked to set an unchanged part not cloned. We shouldn't clone. We should only clone when we need it. So yeah, the draft here. How could do it? We want it to behave the same as the state, but we don't want it to be the state, and we are not. Oh, it's not okay to clone it in ahead of time. So there's only one way we could achieve this, I guess. It's proxy. Actually, Immer is based on the proxy. So I'll write down my ideas here. We just do proxy. Use proxy, and because the objects we might include the nested objects. When we are creating a proxy, we need to do it like support sort of a recursion, right? Recursive proxify the properties. Yeah, and in this recipe, which is the second argument, you can see that in each statement we could actually change the data, right? Change the data and use this accessor. If we access the data, use $sign or use function, we could actually get the path of the field. I mean, let's take the simplest example. Like we have like A and B and C 0, and then we change A, B, and C and equals 1. What happens if we have the proxy? Okay, we have the proxy for the whole. Let's say this is the proxy. And then if we have, okay, and there's a misspelling. If a proxy for this, and if we are changing to C to 1, the first thing is actually we're getting the A and B, which is the get proxy. So we have a proxy of, okay, A, B. So we have a proxy actually C equals 0. Yeah, this is proxy. And then we're setting C. Okay, we add more, one more. Okay, D and 0 and dot D. And A, B, dot C. We get a proxy. D equals 0 here. D 0. And now we A, B, C dot D equals 1. We are now actually changing using the setter on this proxy. Yeah, and we change it to 1. And then what do we need to do? We need to update the data, right? So C is changed now. We need to change B and then change A. Yeah, so you can see that our idea is actually clone as needed in set trap on promise. No, not promise. Shit, I'm sorry. It's on proxy. So we don't clone in ahead of time, but only clone when we have in a get trap, in a get, and then create a proxy on that. And in set trap, we chain the clone up. So for a case like in this example, when we are setting to 1, okay, proxy, this is a clone. How should I say it is a clone? Okay, let's say clone, something like this. Okay, to make sure it is clone. This is original data, and then we create a proxy on it. We don't clone when we need it, unless we need it. So we do something like this. Okay, now we have a proxy clone of, okay, A, B, proxy A, okay, something like this. We get A. Yeah, we will get A. Yeah, this is it. And then we clone. The clone is shadow copy. It's just, there's no connection. Even say I have a clone of this. The B, the data here is actually the same. They're pointing to the same stuff. Maybe it's just a little difficult to understand. But yeah, we're cloning data, but not connecting them. We're only using the dots, but we don't use the lines. You can think of this like this is an object and this is an object. They point to each other, right? They point like a graph. A point to the object here, and then the B on it points to another object. But when we are creating this proxy cloning it, we just create cloning the dot without the lines. Because if we are connecting the line, we're cloning ahead of time, which is not ideal because we only know whether we need to clone them only when we're detecting there are some value changes. So yeah, in a set trap, we can chain the clone up. By that I mean, okay, you can see that when we're setting it, now the D is actually becoming 1, right? and then we need to update something to like this and link them up, and then connect this one as well, and then finally we are getting this. So in the case here, if there is something like extra thing like E here, okay, something like this, because we are only cloning a B, you can see that, because we're not accessing E, there's no clone of E, there's only a B here, and when we are gluing things up here, it will be the same E. E will not be touched because it's not accessed. So this is a powerful part of the proxy. We can clone when we are actually leading them in our get trap. Yeah, and then there's a case that if it is not changed at all, the state will be the identical, right? So we need to understand what's the parent of this state, because if you can see, we are changing D. We need to know what to do on C, which is the parent of D. But for D itself, we don't know what the C is, right? We don't know its parent. So if we did propagate, if we know that, we propagate to the state, the root. We need something holding the state. So it's like if we're doing some algorithm problem, there is the like linked list. Every time I solve a problem of a linked list, I would add a false start to hold the true start node to make the problem less hassle. Yeah, we can do something like the same. So I'll create a wrapper to hold the state and to have to give it a parent. Okay, then how do we know the parent of for each node? I think we could store the reference, right? Store the preference like a two-way linked list, but it's not ideal. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. What I want to do is, because in each statement there's only one action, I guess, at least for the syntax here. But internally there might be multiple one. But for each action there will be only one change, right? So rather than holding the reference, I would just create a callback chain and like a cleanup function to tell the children what to do when they are done changing themselves. So what I mean here is that when we are getting the proxy clone, like here, we just create a function, like set things up, right? Because here we're accessing A. So if something set, we can set something parent.a equals new like clone, right? We can set it like this, the data. Clone. And then here, because we're creating a clone for B, create a proxy for B, it means that when B, wait a minute, here, A.B, we're creating proxy here, so we're getting a proxy. Oh yeah, and here we would put a new updater here, like here is clone is A.B equals clone. So yeah, it means when the object here is changed, right, we just update its parent with this callback. So you can think of like top down when we're accessing them, and when we are done changing the data, we're going to bottom up, right? So we need an array to hold the I think holding the path or something, sort of the path, and then when we are changing the object here, we could just apply this object to this updater function, and then apply the result of this function to its parent updater function, and finally we can update the root, right? And then finally we could get the data. So it's like a event delegation. No, the event bubbling on DOM. But first we go top to bottom, and then go to bottom to top. So yeah, that's the idea. Let's write down what we thought. Okay, clone the data. Okay, if I write it down, clone the data. Oh yeah, here. I already got it. Clone as needed in a set trap, in a get trap. In a set trap, we change the clone up if data changed. Great. Okay, let's do it. So one thing we need to do is proxify the data, right? Proxify a data, not an object. It's a common function. I'll create it somewhere else. So here, I created proxify data. Data is what should be? It should be any. Okay, proxify. I'll just create some raw data proxy. Return new proxy data, and then handle do nothing. Here, as we said, we need the state. It's the base to have a parent. So I'll say create a false start. Not false start, like roots. Okay, results base proxy equals proxify roots, and then the recipe now accept the draft. The draft is actually the proxy, so recipe proxy dot result, and then we could just return the root the result. It obviously it doesn't work. It is of course it will alter the base, but let's write some simple example here. Const base equals a b c 0. Okay, new results equals produce base draft a dot b dot c equals 1. Console log result. You can see that's a b c equals 1, but the problem is base is also altered, I guess. Oh, there's some problem here. Let's create a new row. Yeah, you can see the base is altered as well. It's problematic. Let's improve our proxy method here. As we said, we will create a clone in a get, right? So for the trap, first is get function target, which is the key. Let's first get the value, which be reflect. I can use the target. Yes, just to reflect is better, I guess. Get target key. If it is primitive value, there's no proxy needed because it's primitive. There's nothing to do. The set only works on the object. So let's see if it is not primitive and if it's an object. Okay, we are only need to ask to have this work on basic plain object and array. So if it is an object, which means object val. If it itself, and then it's an object. And if not, then it's primitive. For primitive, we just return the val. There's no there's no need to do anything on that. For an object, we need to create a new proxy, right? Yeah, just to return a new proxy. So constant proxy equals new, and then the proxify val, and then return it. But the problem is, we need to clone the data, as we said. When we are trying to get a key on the data, we need to clone the value and return a proxy on that, right? And then apply an updater function to this proxy. So let's first clone the data. So clone equals, if there's a, we use a spread operator here because it's shadow copy. If there's an array, we do something like this. Use an object, we do something like this. So we got a clone, and we need to proxify on this clone. So, and then we return it. Any, because have a, okay, create a proxy. Any. Oh, proxy. There's no type of proxy? Type of proxy? Okay. It returns a proxy handle. Any. Okay, wait a minute. Const equals new proxy. What's A? Ah, this is not okay. Okay. Anyway, forgive me here. I'll just return any. Okay, now here, yeah. We already clone it, and then we need to get an updater, right? We only clone it, but we haven't connect them. So we would pass in a function to connect them. So the updater, I say, updater means we need to set it, which is the new value. So the new val, we would set it on target. Yeah, you see the target, we are getting the key on this target. This is the result. When this result is changed, we would set on the target with this new data. If we don't set it, the result will be pointing to the state, the original state, which means we don't need to clone them. So yeah, we just say target key equal this new val, and we turn the target. So we can change the updater up. So where do we get this? Where do we get this updater? Updater will be passed down in the proxifier. Proxifier, which is updaters, default to empty array. And then we could clone these updaters and apply this, add this updater here. Is not assignable type, never. What does it mean? The updaters is never. Okay, it should be array. Val any. Okay. Yeah. So now we have this proxy in this get, and in this set, when we are setting things, function target key value, we first check if the value changes, right? So prev val equals reflect get target key. If prev val is not equal to value, okay, so what error? We need to return something. So basically, for our case, we should return true as default. If the value changes, then we just because the target now is actually the cloned version, all the proxies. So we just safely set the key to value, and then call the updaters, right? We are pushing the updaters from right, so we just reduce them, which means updaters reduce right, and this is the result, and this is the updater. We just run this updater with this result, and we would return a new one, and the initial state would be this target. Yeah, so now this will be chaining them up. So yeah, the set is done. So let's give it a try. A, which is the result, we can see that's A, B, C, 1, and the base A, B, C, 0. So this is the super powerful, I think. So let's recap a little bit more. We are actually creating the clones in the get. So here, when we're using dot, use here, we're using get. Use dot, using get again. So when we are creating the clones, we don't connect them. Rather, we pass down the connecting method as an updater in the second parameter. And when we are setting it, we are telling all the nodes on the path, right? Telling this parent and the parent of this parent, telling all his ancestors to chain them up. So now, because we are creating a false root for the head for the base state, so the update will propagate to the root. Actually, it will update to the result, and we can log it. Okay, so here, updater, which is the key. We can see what happens if we run it. You can update B and A and result, which always, if there is anything changing, it will always propagate to the root. So the result will be updated, and we can just return the root result, which will be the newest, the updated data. So I think this should work. Let's basically it should work. I hope. I submit. So test failed to pass. Okay. Able to delete a field. What is it? State blah blah blah. Okay, it means delete. Okay, we use delete property. Function target a key. Delete. What do you mean by delete? Okay. So when we using delete here, it means delete the key from its target, right? Delete the key on the target. The target is now the clone. So we only need to actually delete it from the clone and connect them up, right? So it's super simple. So, okay, delete it equals reflect delete property target key. If deleted, we return the result. If deleted, we would do the same as updated here to chain them up. So yeah, we just chain them up. Target, yeah. Able to push, pop, splice. A push. Oh god. So there's a problem. Oh, push is function. The val is object, but it might be a function. So if it is function, so if it is a function, it's actually for function on the arrays, they're actually on the prototype, right? So it doesn't matter. They're always prototype, so we just ignore them. So and if it is not function, so how can I check if it is function or not? How can I check if it is a function? Instance of function, I guess. Yeah, val instance of function. Yeah, let's give it a try. Oh no, not instance of function. Oh great, yeah, we passed. Nice. Okay, I'll write down some commands here. So the proxy file, yeah, if function met, meaning prototype functions on array here in our scope. Primitive set when data changes, link clone up when, yeah, this is the same. When data changes, link clones up. So get is something different. When get, create clones in get is only needed. Clone the node, but only link them in set traps in order to keep other to avoid unnecessary cloning. Great. Submit. Posted. This is my solution. Interesting problem. Okay. That's it. Hope it helps. See you next time. Bye bye.